let's begin with where we left yesterday, and I'll refer to this slide and talk about different tools or different template applications or different services that ServiceNow has within its portfolio,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now, yes, if you remember yesterday in this diagram, we talked about the four core components of ITIL framework, and then we also talked about continual service improvement. And we agreed that continual service improvement should go on during each phase of each core components of the ITIL framework, right? Now,
Yes.
extending this diagram, we go into this diagram, which has the four core components here: services strategies, design, transition, and service operations in it. But it also lists out, all of the project types, the project elements, the projects available within ServiceNow which relate to each core component area. For example, if you have the services strategy here, you can think of services strategy as a combination of service portfolio management, project portfolio management, and financial management. Because it is the services strategy where we decided that we are going to make a $1 million in 10 years and we are going to invest 100 grand to get that done, to get that project completed, right? So that comes
Mm-hmm.
under project planning, and you want to build a portfolio of restaurant services, so that comes into service portfolio, project portfolio, and then financial and budgetary allocation also goes within services strategy. So this diagram states three components here: service portfolio, project portfolio, and financial management. So these kind of applications will be available in ServiceNow. Now, when you buy licenses, these applications may not be active by default, right? Some of these applications
Mm-hmm.
may be available as plugins which are not activated by default. You have to go ahead and activate those plugins to start working on those applications, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moving to, and I'll show you how to activate plugins and how to start working on these applications.
Okay.
Moving to service design, and very obvious is that we get supplier management, availability management, service level management, service catalog management. Let's correlate to our scenario of creating the restaurant. And when you are getting your building constructed, you have to handle so many suppliers who will be supplying the construction materials, will be supplying resources, right, or supplying the workforce, etc. So all of these things have to be considered when you are into services design, and you have to make sure that the resources which are required are fulfilled from some sort of provider. For example, the supply management, right? This is supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be the vendors that you are interacting with, getting all the information, getting all concrete or wood or machinery that is required to create that building, right? Then you have this availability management that will make sure that whatever services you are, taking from some other vendors is available according to the time that you actually want to work on, right? Meaning, if you want to work during the day to get your restaurant building constructed, these services should be available during the day. So this kind of services are available using these applications within service design. All right.
Mm-hmm.
When you move to transition, which is actually the kind of a testing phase for us tech guys or software guys, because we mostly understand software development testing and then moving to operations. So when we go to service transition, and it might be within your IT enterprise as a practice as well. When you move to service transition, when you are done with coding and all, you move it to you are done with unit testing, etc. You move to a testing phase where you pass out the baseline code to your testing team and the end product to test. Then you will have a different testing and validation process, right? Then even before that, you have this change management process where you identify what change has to be worked upon within this product. For example, if you are a developer in Adobe Photoshop, right, a Photoshop team, and your product manager says that, okay, out of the 100 proposed changes that we are planning for Adobe Photoshop, within this release we are going to do only 5 of them, right? So that's
mm,
those are the 5 changes which you or your team is going to uh, work within this release, right? So the moment you decide that these are the changes that have to be worked, those changes have to be locked somewhere within change management application, right? And then this change
mm,
management application will have a workflow. It will get through a series of approvals, etc. And then the different assignments will be done, and people will start working on those change requests that have been created into the change management application, right?
yeah,
Once you are done with change management, I mean, the change management is also part of change management also oversees the defect management, because as you move to the uh, IT operational phase, before moving to that, you test your solution, and if you test your solution, then you have to report those tests. You have to report defects originating during that phase to somewhere according to the test plan that you have created for your project, right? So that will be factored in as well. Right. Then within the service transition, you will also have release management that will take care of all the release aspects of the different products and solution you are working on. Right. Testing and validation is the part of the service transition where you go ahead and test your product. Project management is always going to be a part of this transition phase, because right from the moment when you log a change request within the change management system, you have to keep track of the changes that you are doing, and that's part of the project management. You have to keep track of the resources allocated to that product, that change request or requirement, and then you have to also track on a frequent basis and see what portion of the work has been completed, and whether there will be a effort variance or a schedule variance that you are seeing. And if there are variances to your planned efforts, then you have to factor in those variances, and then you have to mitigate the challenges or risk originating because of those variances. All right. And then after you are done with all these aspects, you will somehow like to create a repository of all the information or knowledge that you have gained over the course of time. For example, when you reach here within service transition, you have spent a lot of time doing all these activities, starting right from here, service strategy to service transition, right? So as a product manager, I like to have all this information and knowledge that my team has gathered during this time period. I like that that knowledge base should be, that knowledge should be documented somewhere into some sort of repository, so that even if people from this team go out of the team, the knowledge is still retained, right? So for that purpose, you have this knowledge
mm,
management solution available in ServiceNow that you can utilize, right?
mm,
Now, at this point of time, you see that CMDB circle is here, where you will have, CMDB is the configuration management database. So these change management or project management or release management or stuff related to it, what we are doing has to be done on some configuration items or some assets which are stored in CMDB, right? Like if you are going to create a restaurant and you have your CMDB in place, so you will have the information about restaurant within your CMDB as well, right? You will store that
mm,
record within your CMDB, and based on the data that you create on your CMDB, you will be working, you will be working on most of these projects or applications that you are seeing. All right. So
mm,
CMDB comes into
mhm,
picture here. If you see the content of CMDB here, it is majorly showing discovery and its components. And we talked about it yesterday, where we talked about different assets within the enterprise that contains information like data center information, network information, desktop or server information, mobile devices that you have. So you will have records of these type of components within CMDB. Then you have information about people, inventory, and cloud as well, right? And then corporate assets as well. So all these information will be stored in CMDB, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
moving into the operations phase. When you move into operation phase, meaning when your restaurant is ready, that's created. Now you start your day-to-day business operations, right? And you are inviting customers to your restaurant, and then you are serving them good food or liquor or beverages, whatever you want to serve them, right? Now, when you do that, so you have to, you as a product owner and as a product manager, you have to ensure that the processes that you have outlined for your restaurant is streamlined and is optimized to serve your customers coming in and to make them satisfied of what their expectations are, right? For example, if somebody
Mm-hmm.
comes into your restaurant and orders some things to you, and there is a delay in service, and let's say you are serving within 20 or 25 minutes, so this is a poor service to your customers, right? So it may lead to dissatisfaction of the customer, and it may happen that after few more chances, or even in the next visit, the customer will not plan to go there because you are wasting 20 minutes of his valuable time. So these
Mm-hmm.
kind of information, these kind of data will be tracked in applications like you will have you will have different data is stored in all these kind of applications, and based on those data you can create reports and dashboards, and those reports and dashboards will allow you to get meaningful data and meaningful that will prove itself as a meaningful decision making aid to you, right? Using which you or your senior management can make some decisions and improve the processes that you have there, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
you also see that there are incident management, problem management, event management as well. So these these applications or these functions will be there within your iService operations to make sure if any incident happens during the course of service operations, that has to be recorded, right? That has to be recorded
Mm-hmm.
to maintain a list of all the incidents that has occurred, and then you have to also see that in future those kind of incidents do not reoccur, and if they reoccur, what is the quickest mitigation steps that we have to follow to get that resolved, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
that, you have an incident management process in place that has a full workflow associated to it, and different aspects to it, and different states to it as well, that will be managed by incident management application, right? Now, if
Mm-hmm.
that incident that has been created by somebody, usually the incident management application will be, used by consumers to, of course, consumers to create incidents and, get the attention of the support team that, something is not working right. So the incident management application will be used by support team, consumers, of course, and then it is also used by the help desk personnel. For example, if you call a banking support center number. Let's say you call a Wells Fargo customer care, right? And somebody, and you're saying that your credit card is lost, right? So this is an incident. Your credit card is lost. So you are calling you are a Wells Fargo customer, and you are calling Wells Fargo, and you are saying that your credit card is lost. Why don't you hotlist that credit card? Right? So if that is the
Mm-hmm.
case, the help desk personality there will go ahead and create an incident record for you, and it will go ahead and right away hotlist the card, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that person could have hotlisted the card without creating that incident record, but that's not according to the process that the bank has there, right? The bank has to have a record of who requested to hotlist the card, at what time they requested to do that, and what was the reason of requesting for hotlisting of the card. Why was there any was there any way to recover the card before hotlisting, etc. Stuff like that. You can have a number of arguments there, and you have to prove your identity before your card gets blocked, right? So these kind of
Mhm.
information, whatever the help desk the personnel or the customer care executive will talk to you, that gets recorded into the incident record that is created within their incident management application, right?
Mhm.
So that's why you will have incident management application in place. But let's assume sometimes back there was a news in the market that LinkedIn users' credentials were hacked by some people, right? So some thousand
Mhm.
users or more than thousand users, LinkedIn credentials were out in the market and people can log in using their credentials, right? So
Mhm.
there are let's assume there are thousand users affected, right? So those thousand users will call to the help desk, LinkedIn help desk, and say, look, my password has been compromised, right? This is an incident.
Mhm.
My password has been compromised and I am unable to reset my password. Right. So this is more suitable case for our example here. So that's a case, right, where my password has been my credentials have been compromised and I am unable to reset the password. So this is an incident that you have to record. So that support center executive will record that incident within incident management application. But then somebody else has also called to the help desk and said, my password has also been compromised, right? And I need to reset that and I'm unable to reset that. Now this help desk person will see that the incident that he is recording within the incident management application is affecting more than one user, right? So this is going to be severe incident. So when any incident is severe and is affecting more than one users and is affecting some of the processes which is key to the key to the application's functioning, etc., which is critical to the application functioning, then that incident will turn into a problem, right? That will become a problem and
Mhm.
has to be mitigated separately, right? So the help desk person
Mhm.
might like to create a record into the problem management application, or will then move this incident record into the problem application and generate a problem record there, right? The main differentiator
Mhm.
between incident and problem is the severity and impact. How severe is the incident and how many users are impacted. So these are the questions you will be asking when you have a problem record coming in within your system. Okay, so that's an example. We'll be talking about these things in greater detail later. Likewise, you have this event management process available, asset management, request management. All these stuff will be available there when we talk about ServiceNow and ITIL processes as a whole. Let me know if you have questions.
It's good so far.
Sure. Again, same stuff but different representation, right?
Mhm.
So this is kind of a pyramid structure that you will see overall service now, how these can be utilized. See, on one end it will be service providers that you are interacting with, and the other end it will be your departments. So
Mhm.
consider this as an enterprise service model where you are the owner of this enterprise, right? You have different departments that align here within the department box, and then you have different vendors, the product vendors. So you have these vendors here. So you are interfacing with the service vendors here, service providers, and you are also interfacing with the people within your departments that you have within the organization, right?
Mhm.
That's the interaction of this enterprise service model. But within this enterprise service model, you have different aspects here. Let's look into. The first one is business management, right? So the top level executives within the organization will be interested in more in these components, which is analytics, how we are performing on different areas, different departments. Where are the reports? So these are the CIOs, CTOs, or directors or VPs where they will sit and look into these applications to see what are the governance models that they are following, what are the governance planning that they have done, where they are ailing, where they are doing good, etc. Those kind of analysis will be done using these applications. So the top management will majorly see all these applications like governance, vendor, resources, cost, demand, project, and analytics. All right. So the next set of management, who is slightly lower than the top management there, they will be engaged into these kind of functions and applications which are released. So these now here we come into us we come to discuss about people who deal with lower level stuff and who get the who oversee the operations aspects of the enterprise, right? Where you have the release management, the problem, incident, CMDB, the password reset, the catalog, the change, work. We just talked about it, right? Human resources and
Yeah.
facilities as well. So that goes into the service management. The lowest level in this hierarchy is the operations management and the application development. So here, within the application development, it comes the project development team or the testing team, where they have their role to follow the SDLC. They are the app creators or the service creators, right, or the citizen creators or professional creators. So these are the low-level activities that the application development team will be focused on, right? So they'll be focused on to do your application development, and whatever business processes or business requirements it comes from the operations management team will be executed by this team, right? So this is your core team.
Mm.
It is your development team that we are talking about here in this block. Within the operations management, so it's a different team. It's operations teams. Let's assume the case of a BPO or a KPO, business process outsourcing or knowledge process outsourcing, right? So
Mm.
if you have
Mm.
ever had a chance to visit a BPO or work into a BPO, you will see these BPO folks use a lot of software, a lot of utilities there to serve their clients, right?
Mm.
Now, those softwares or utilities were not developed by these operations management teams. They are only the users of those softwares or utilities. Those utilities or softwares were built by the application development team, which is a separate team, right? So these guys generate requirements. They see what is fit for the business that should be included into the application, and they create the requirements and pass it on to the application development team after a series of evaluation of what requirement should be worked first, right? And that is done into the CCB, which is Change Acquisition Board or Change Control Board, right? CCB and
Mhm.
CAB as well. CAB is, I believe, Change Accreditation Board or yeah, probably Change Authorization Board. Let me see. Change Advisory Board. I'm sorry.
Change advisor. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot that. So that's Change Advisory Board. So the requirements these guys generate, or some of the requirements may also come from the service management team, right? So the requirements which are generated will go through the Change Advisory Board. The Advisory Board will evaluate and see the cost benefit analysis of that change, right? And then out of those change requests that has been generated, they will approve a couple of change requests that has to be worked according to the release plan, and that will be passed to the application development, right? But then within the operations, you will have stuff like event management, cloud provisioning, orchestration, configuration, automation, and discovery. We'll talk about these stuffs in detail later. Now, as a product offering, what does ServiceNow have? So ServiceNow Automation Platform gives you these stuffs. It allows you to do custom app development. Custom app
Mhm.
development meaning apart from all these applications which are available in ServiceNow by default, I call these applications as template applications because these applications are pre-built, created with sample data, and you can go ahead right into the instance and start searching these applications and start working on that, right? So if you buy a license, you can go ahead and utilize these applications which are created by default. These are the template applications. Or you can go ahead, you can customize these applications according to your business processes as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you can create your own custom application. You can create your own, custom applications, like you create those applications in .NET or Java or in any programming language, right? When you create applications, you get these things, which is single data model, shared resources, and single architecture, right? So ServiceNow has a single architecture created. It has a different layering of stuff, like when you are creating application, what layer should contain the data layer, what layer should contain the modules, what layer should contain the UI forms, scripts, etc., how to interact with all these components in modules. So there is a single architecture that is provided by ServiceNow, and you will be using this single architecture, ServiceNow architecture, to build your custom application, right? And then there are shared resources that you can utilize, and you can plug in those resources within your custom application. All right. So this is what we can do, and we'll be seeing in greater details. In addition to all these applications that we see here, we will have the custom application development feature available in ServiceNow, and we'll go ahead and create some custom applications in our instances and see how we can do that. Right? A part of the learning that we are doing will be when we move to practical stuff, we'll be creating applications, and then the components to the application will be discussing by doing practicals. Right? So that's something that we'll be doing. Questions on this slide?
So around here, all these application there, we are just customizing to the need of the specific need of
Right.
the business,
Right.
right?
Right.
And in the meantime, we are able to develop our own application as well.
Right.
That correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Okay.
I'm not saying all of them. Most of these apps will be available here. Some of these apps are uh, some of these apps require different licensing, so you have to pay for it separately, right?
Oh,
But
okay.
but in this dev instance, for developers, most of these apps that we have here are available. Some of these apps are available, but they are not activated by default, right? So you have to go ahead and activate those apps here within ServiceNow, right? But for example, to show you, I can go ahead into incident application by typing in incident keyword here in the nav pane, and I can see this incident application coming in. And if you go to the incident create new, you will see a form that will be there for you and the helpless professional who can go ahead and create an incident like this, right? And then you have different
Mm-hmm.
stuff coming in here. If you go to the change application, you will have different modules to the change application you can see here, right? So these are pre-built, right? But then you can fully customize these application and change the workflow itself, change the look and feel, change different components and different fields that you see on the forms, etc. Right? And
Mm-hmm.
according to your organizational processes, you can customize this form, right? So that's allowed. So most of the apps that we see here will be available here. Um,
Uh,
let's see human resources. I don't see any human resources here or HR here. So no HR practice application or human resources application is available. But I can go ahead and activate some applications like this by activating those plugins. So I'll go into plugins and I'll find out HR and see if some HR application is available here, right? And see, these are the HR applications available which are in inactive state right now. I have to go ahead, hit on these applications, and then I have to activate these applications to get that application here, right?
mm-hmm.
So, so the point is, most of these applications will be available in your development environment, development instance, right? But they might or might not be activated by default. They might or might not be available by default, depending upon what licensing agreement did you have with ServiceNow, what type of subscription you have bought from them, right?
Mm.
And then you are always allowed to create your own application. For example, the marketing application that I have created, this is completely a custom application that I have built, right? Totally a custom application. Right? So this will not be available within your ServiceNow instance. This is something that I created. So this is a custom application I have built. Same stuff, different representation. The key takeaway from this screen is the support on different browsers or devices. These are the browsers supported: Internet Explorer, Edge, Mozilla, Chrome. On the mobile handheld devices, it is supported on Android, iPhone, iPad. This is Windows and BlackBerry. So all these stuffs are, support. All these platforms are now supported, right? So they have launched their apps there as well, right? Now they are coming with native apps on these platforms as well. They recently launched an app for iPad where you can go ahead and do a lot of activities. That iPad app has allowed you to do a lot of activities there, right? So they are extending their reach to different ServiceNow consumers, users on different platforms according to the user behavior, right?
Mhm.
Now, that being said, let's move to the home page, right? So I have a screen grab of the home page of my instance here, and I have, I have to show you there are a few areas on the screen and how we should call it. The top area where you have the company name and logo, etc., we call it as banner. See this area where we have this
Mhm.
Turasys here and this text. This is the banner area. The left panel that you have is known as edge, right? And the edge will contain stuff like the home page, the bookmarks, the tag documents, list view, etc., and toggle navigator. This is navigator. This pane that you have where you are searching, where I was searching, this pane is
Mhm.
navigation pane, navigator. So this edge contains some of the shortcuts which will enable to change your views, etc. You can create bookmarks of the stuffs. The most frequently used stuffs, you can create bookmarks of those stuffs here in the bookmarks, etc. Right?
Mhm.
I don't really use these buttons, but yeah, you can use it according to your user's pattern or as you like. Then we go to the bigger section on the screen, which is the content pane. Right? So the content pane area. Whatever you select on this area or here, any selection that you do, the changes according to the selection will reflect in the content pane here. Right? So this is the landing area where all the information that you want to see will be displayed. Right? If you toggle, the area becomes slightly bigger because you do not have the navigator here. Right? Now these are the
Mhm.
3-4 sections on the home screen that you will you see here. Now let's go ahead and dive into details of these screens, these items. So this company logo, obviously this has a hyperlink field, so this is referencing to your instance. So if you are on any screen and you hit on this company logo, it will take you to the home screen, the landing page, and
Mhm.
you will see your home screen there. All right.
Mhm.
These are totally customizable. The look and feel of this screen, the logos, the text that you see here, totally customizable, right?
Mhm.
Slightly below the banner area, you see welcome and system administrator, right? The system administrator is the user I have used its credentials to log into this instance. This is an administrative login that I have here, right? When you are logged in as administrator, you will see these two buttons here, the impersonation button and the security elevation button here. If you log in as a normal user, a standard user, you will not see these buttons here, right? And
mm,
also, if you log in as a standard user, you will see a different screen, right? Not all of these apps will be available to the standard user, because each of the apps that you see here, you may like to allow or disallow users to access these apps. So you have different access control levels available in ServiceNow, right? And there are different levels of access control level, right? There are different access control rules that you can create. That could be up to the application level, that could be up to the table level, that could be up to the record level as well, right? Then you can create user groups, roles, and obviously attach those groups and roles to particular users. When you do that, you can also allow a particular function on those groups and roles. For example, if a user is a user of a particular group or role, a particular role, and that role has only read access of some application or some screen or some table, then that person will not be able to write anything on that application or table, right? So
mm,
the point is, not every user will see this UI. People will see according to the access level they are into, they fall into, right? I'll go ahead and quickly, sorry, I'll go ahead and quickly impersonate a standard user and show how a standard user will see this instance, right? This home page. So
mm,
this button, since I have logged in as an administrator, I can see this impersonation button which says administrators can impersonate another user. So I can click on this and I can pick any standard user from the database, right? I have a user database here within ServiceNow where all of the
mm,
instance users are listed out here, right? So out of those users, I know this person, Abel Tutor, is a standard user. So I'll go ahead and impersonate as this user and see how this user's UI will look like, right? So if you come here, you will see this person has a different UI. And you will also see the application listing that is there in the navigator here is slightly less than what we had as an administrator, right? So you only have 2 to 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 or 15 items available in this navigation page, right?
mhm,
Not all of those applications are available here, right? And the UI has changed. Uh, this is a different UI, different theme. If you go here, we'll come back to themes. Let me go back to the administrator. So this is a different UI. So 15 applications we were able to see here. Let me go to the administrator again. See, different UI, different theme, and it's more than 15 applications. I can scroll down and down and down, and I
mm,
can see so many applications coming
mm.
in, right? So many applications
Yeah.
coming in. According to the roles and groups you are associated to, you will see all those applications here. As an administrator, I can see everything that I have within this instance. All right. Now, you might have observed that the user able tutor has a different theme, a different UI, right? That's possible. If you hit this gear button here on this banner, the gray one, when you hit this, you have you get this settings pop up, and within this settings pop up, you have switched to UI 16 button, right? So the UI that we just saw for able tutor was UI 16. The one that I am looking into is UI 15, right? These are nothing
Mm,
but just the, these are some of the themes that ServiceNow came up with, and the latest theme that they have is UI 16, right? I personally do not like UI 16 for some reason, because I
mm,
am used to work on the UI 15, so I have been using UI 15 and I like UI 15. But you can go ahead and pick UI 16 as well. As an administrator, when you pick UI 16, see the difference, right? You have the application navigator here, but this is categorized, right? Which is fine, right? You see the banner here. The the user information was earlier here, which has shifted to here in this area. These gear buttons and the chat windows have been organized. You get to see this new list here and new application listing here, which used to be there within. I'll I'll show that back to you in the UI 15. So these were not available in UI 15 there. You could not find out the applications or updates that related to those applications here, right? To impersonate, you had to go somewhere in the left side of the pane, and then you have to select the, you know, people to impersonate that. So slight change in the UI, right? I prefer to use UI 15, so I am using this one, but you can go ahead and choose whatever UI you want to, and you can practice. So functionality wise, that will not differ. Only the organization of the stuff from one area to of the screen to another area of the screen, right?
Yep.
Now, the next item that I want to draw your attention to is this search item, which is really very powerful. And when I say powerful, it's very powerful because you can use this search button to search, virtually any item available in ServiceNow instance, right? For example, if I want to search any piece of code that was written by me within ServiceNow, right? And I could barely remember that within that piece of code I kept my name within the comment section. So maybe I can go ahead and type in my name and see what area of the application might have that information there. So see, when I search for my name, it shows me that my name is associated to these records as well. So my name is associated to these incident records. So that is what is being displayed here. Then there are some change requests which contains my name. So we are getting the list of the change requests that contains my name. We are also getting a list of live feed information where my name is being showed, right? So you can get all those, items where my name is being displayed in the live feed section. It is also showing me the knowledge articles where my name is coming up. So these are the knowledge articles or fields that I have created. So my name is getting displayed here as part of the search result. Then it comes to the UI policy. The policy, these are the codes that I have done. These are the components that I have built, and my name is available in this record as well. Somehow my name is there. See this UI policy. This is a component. This is a component that we have built, and within this, my name is here, right? So the point is the search feature that we have here on the top of the on top of the page in the banner area, it's quite powerful. And if you search for something, you get everything, you get that stuff wherever that is located in ServiceNow, right? And then you can also filter out only a specific type of records that you are interested in. For example, if I am not interested in task, live feed, policy, let's say if I am only interested in policy, right? So I'll go ahead, hit policy, and then I'll search on this. And it will show me only the policy records where my name is coming up, right? So this really helps you to get out a very filtered result out from the system. And if you have to search for any component, anything, any piece of code within the service now, you can go ahead and do that, right? Very powerful search,
Right.
right? Now, you have this obvious logout button. When you hit this, you will be logged out. This is a board button here. When you hit this, you will get, this is kind of information board that you have here. You will get information on some active items that you are following, right? So we'll talk about this in detail later, but this gives you gives you an option of following the active items that you are working on or you are associated to, right? See this collapse expand banner button here on top right.
Yeah.
If you hit this, your logo will not appear. You will only have the company text here. You are collapsing your banner,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Pretty basic, but we have to learn this, right?
That's
That's why.
true.
So hit on this gear button and you see this pop-up menu coming in, right? Settings pop-up menu coming in. It gives you the switch to UI 16 button and what's new. When you hit what's new, it will give you some informational stuff and show you some help pages where information about what's new within this version of ServiceNow or facilities or in this instance will appear. Right, just some informational stuff there. Let's go back. Let's hit the gear button. Hit the home page to go to the home page. Right. It may be the case that you are on some other application. For example, you are on the knowledge application. You opened up this and you want to go to home page. Hit this home page and you will go there. A navigation item, a shortcut, etc. Now these are some of the preferences, the UI preferences that you can set. You just have to toggle it and see the difference. Wrap longer text in list columns, right? This is off right now. Let's go into this my request items here. See the first see the first record here, which is Apple iPad 3 in single line. When I go ahead and enable this, see wrap longer text in list columns. So the Apple iPad is now in two columns. So it is wrapping text on the screen to better organize the stuff available on the screen, right?
Mm.
So just some UI preferences that you can set according to your choice. I have chosen the compact view. When you do compact view, the items on the screen look more compact. You can go ahead and switch that off and you'll see bigger items on the screen that will take more screen area. I kind of like the compact view, so I'll use this. Accessibility enabled. If you want to do that, you can enable the accessibility. So these will be, you know, I think these are for so people who are impaired or something, who will be
Mm.
able to use stuff like that. So for that you have this accessibility. I keep this, I kind of keep this disabled all the time. So you can have that on and off. Then you can look into the tab forms. And this tab forms is when you land onto some form. Let's assume when you are on the change form, you open a change record, you scroll down. So see here, planning, schedule, conflicts, notes, and further information. These tabs
Mm.
are here, right? So these are the tab forms. If you disable it, tab forms, these will appear as a list item here. See, you have to scroll down and then look into the information available. But when you do tab forms, all these information will be organized into a list of tabs and you can see all this stuff into, you know, these tabbed forms available here. So you have to do less scrolling and more work by using the tab form button here, right? Again, your choice,
Mm.
whatever look and feel you want or preferences, you can do that. Now this one is Alt plus click opens list link in the form pane. When you do Alt plus you click the link, it will open up in the content pane area. So that's that. When you hit dashboard, it will be to customize the dashboards that you have, the home pages.
Mm.
I'm sorry. That will take you to the this dashboard area where you can customize the dashboard and pick out stuff that you want to display on the dashboard, stuff like that,
Mm.
right? I keep it home pages, so that's here. I'll go back to home. Now these are the date and time settings that you can do, right? Pick according to your
Mm.
users. Split layout. You can see the difference. When you do split layout, it will bring out you this new tab. If you do horizontal split, this tab will come down here, right? And this will show information according to your activity on the form. I don't use this as split layout, so I'll leave it as is, right? Then there are some behaviors that you are adding. Related list loading. We'll talk about it later because we don't know what related lists are. So we'll talk about these later and then we'll try to customize this. Right? Now on UI 16, there was a drop down that came up on the banner area and I call it as application drop down. See, this is the listing here. On UI 16, it is there on the top banner area. But here on UI 15, you will see only in this pop-up area, the application listing here. You can go ahead and pick whatever application you want to work on, right? And this is important. This is very important to understand what application you are choosing before you start working on any of the application. We'll talk about it. Then there are something known as update sets. According to the application you select, you may also like to select different update set where all the changes that you are doing will be recorded, right? So that's a different stuff update set. Then there are a couple of settings like time zone, right? You can pick your time zone, and then this is the theme. Let's look into. I'm going to select this sky theme, and the look and feel of this UI this screen will change. See, the banner theme has changed. The color of these items have changed slightly. So according to the theme you select, the color pattern will change. If I go to choose system, it will have a different look and feel. See, so that's basically the CSS item that we have here. So you can pick whatever theme you like to, right? You may also like to have different themes for your dev environment and test environment or different prod environment, etc. And that's important because just by looking at the screen, you will understand what instance you are working on, right? So that's quite handy to use these themes accordingly. Right, then we have this JavaScript log and field watcher. We'll see when we start doing debugging, etc. When we start writing a script, we'll come back to it and see how we can use this. Printer-friendly version is to, if you want to print the screen, then you have to get this printer-friendly version, and that will print out the, information that is displayed on the home page, the content page, right? So that's the printer-friendly version that you have, right? Application Navigator is anything that you want to search within ServiceNow, any application or stuffs or modules. Go ahead and search it here. Right? For example, if I want to search configuration, I can search it here. If I want to search server, I can search it here, and everything related to server. So this is the moment you start typing in a letter, letters into it will start showing you related results. Related results according to the pattern you are typing in here, right? So that's that. That's Application Navigator. Then you have this new page button here, using which you can create your own page like the page My Self-Service page here, right? See, when I created this home page, when I hit this button, a new page was created which is known as home page 5. You can customize this page. You can change this page name, right? You can change the layout of this page, right? And then you can bring components on this page like you have on the other pages. If you go to My Self-Service page, you have different components coming in. So this is a 2-column page, two non-equal width columns we have here on this content page, right? So this page has been designed according to that. If you want to change layout, you can go ahead and pick the layout that you prefer to have, right? And then customize this page as well. But then out of the various pages that are already created, you can pick from the page that you want to see. I'm going to choose Rahul's page here, which has just one component here. You can go ahead and add components by clicking on add content and adding different components available as part of it, right? And then
Mhm.
you can use all these components as web parts. You can drag drop these components from one area to another area, reorganize the stuff on the component on the content page, and then you can see, then you can see, you can design your own layout basically, right?
Mhm.
For
Mhm.
example, if I want to pull a report, let's see if we have a report created. So I like to, let's go ahead and find out a report that has some data. Yeah, this is a graphical report that I have. So I'll go ahead and I'll add this component here on my component, here on my page, and I'll close it. So see, the next column contains now, I'll delete this. I added two of them. Next column contains this, contains this report here, right? Now, since we have this three column page here, so two columns are created. Third column space is vacant. I can go ahead and add one more component here. Application, the first application, show me some data. Change this first. I'll go to CAD report and I'll go to add here. See? So now you design a page, a home page
Mhm.
containing three components, right? And a three column layout, which is not equal width, but yes, you have designed your home page like this, right? So this way you can design your own home page. So the activity for you for today will be to go and look into different pages that you have. You do not have to do much, right? Look onto these stuff, the banner areas, the navigator panes, try to customize all this stuff. You play with this gear button, try logging out, logging in, try
Mhm.
searching stuff, etc. These kind of stuff that we did, try doing that and then go ahead and see all of the default pages that are created here and see what kind of information these pages contain, right? So that will be a good
Mhm.
exercise for you to understand, get used to the environment, get
Yeah.
used to information that is getting displayed here. All right?
Yeah, there is one instance actually my work instance. I opened that instance and looking through, I see that there is application knowledge base, I guess,
Right.
and then they created a lot of what do you call a page, the one that you showed me earlier.
This one?
Like there are like application hosting, cloud, internal knowledge. They have a lot of those box things.
What page have you selected here?
No, I open one instance from my workplace, from my job.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Uh,
I get it.
I'm following that.
So these are gauges or reports or components, you can say. This could be gauges as well. You can call it gauges or reports.
Gauges. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Gauges, reports, or
Okay.
news feed. Right? So these will be available here. Now, according to the roles and the requirements of the team, these pages will be designed by your administrator, right? So
Mhm.
your administrator might like to show you only a specific page with a specific component there. So that's the reason you are seeing that page. I don't know if you are
Mhm.
administrator on ServiceNow instance of your workplace, but if you go there, if you are administrator, you will be able to choose different pages as well. You can go ahead and select different pages, right?
Mhm.
So something that you can try.
Mhm.
All right.